what I said about the material things I've got, everything just meant nothing at that point. I was desperately unhappy. I wasn't particularly enjoying my work, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to become a vampire then.
Simon Cowell, the sharp-tongued music mogul known for launching global superstars and commanding the world's biggest stages, is now at the center of heartbreaking news that has left fans in total shock. Once the unstoppable force behind some of television's most iconic talent shows. Simon's latest personal revelation is not only devastating, it's deeply human. As the details unfold, questions swirl about his future, his health, and what this means for the legacy he's built. So what exactly happened to Simon Cowell? The truth is more emotional than anyone expected. The man behind the red glasses. For years, Simon Cowell was a towering figure in the world of television. With a sharp tongue and an even sharper gaze, he became known across the globe as the no-nonsense judge who never sugarcoated the truth. Whether it was Britain's Got Talent, The X Factor, America's Got Talent, or American Idol, Cowell's presence commanded attention. He didn't just judge contestants. He shaped careers, created stars, and built an empire on honesty, showmanship, and sheer confidence. His voice was firm, his critiques unforgiving, and his reactions unforgettable, from iconic eye rolls to that unmistakable smirk. Millions loved him, millions feared him, but everyone listened. For over 2 decades, Cowell was more than just a judge. He was the gold standard of talent evaluation, the final word in an industry that often dances around the truth. But then, something began to change. At first it was barely noticeable. A softer tone, a slower step, a quieter demeanor. The man, once known for his strong, almost intimidating presence, seemed more subdued. And then came the red-tinted glasses. Not just once, but regularly. Fans around the world began to wonder, was Simon okay? Why the change? What was hiding behind those tinted lenses? As it turns out, behind the stage lights and beneath the polished exterior, Simon Cowell was fighting a silent, personal war, one that few knew about. In a reality far removed from the glamour of television sets and roaring crowds, Cowell was battling a serious neurological illness. It was not just a medical struggle. It was emotional, psychological, and deeply human. It threatened not only his ability to perform on screen, but also shook the very core of the identity he had spent years building. For a man who had always appeared untouchable, to be struck by such vulnerability was both shocking and heartbreaking. This hidden chapter of Cowell's life has now drawn attention not for the drama of celebrity gossip, but for the raw humanity it reveals. The powerful media mogul, once seen as emotionally bulletproof, is now grappling with weakness, uncertainty, and pain. And yet, even as his public image shifted, one thing became clear: Simon Cowell is still fighting. His red glasses, once just a fashion curiosity, have become a symbol, not of style, but of survival. They signal not just a physical need, but a quiet defiance, a way of facing the world despite the storm raging within. In his silence, there is strength. In his slower pace, there is resilience. And in his struggle, there is a story worth telling. Not of downfall, but of transformation. This is no longer just the story of a man who built TV empires and discovered talent. This is the story of a man learning to live with fragility, navigating fame under the weight of an invisible illness, and showing the world that even the strongest voices sometimes need to pause, heal, and adapt. And in that, Simon Cowell may be revealing his greatest strength yet. How did he get to this condition? Let's delve into the details of the accident that changed everything. A sudden catastrophe. For a long time, something wasn't quite right with Simon. Chronic migraines and strange neurological symptoms had been quietly invading his life, small signs that all was not well. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared Simon or anyone who knew him for the life-altering event that happened in August 2020. It was supposed to be a calm, relaxing day at his beautiful Malibu home. No deadlines, no meetings, just a break from his normally high-pressure world. That afternoon, Simon decided to try out a sleek new electric trail bike. It was a last-minute, spontaneous decision, the kind of thing you do for a bit of fun. But in just a few seconds, that simple joyride turned into a nightmare. As he rode the powerful machine, something went terribly wrong. Simon lost control. The bike surged forward uncontrollably, and before he could react, he was thrown violently to the ground. The crash was brutal. He shattered multiple bones in his back, and the pain was instant and overwhelming. He couldn't move properly. He couldn't even feel certain parts of his body the way he used to. In those terrifying moments, the unthinkable became a real possibility. He might never walk again. Paramedics rushed to the scene, and Simon was taken to the hospital for emergency surgery. Surgeons had to insert metal rods and screws into his spine to hold it together. It was an intense, high-stakes operation. News of the accident spread quickly. Fans were shocked. Colleagues in the entertainment world were stunned. How could this happen to Simon, the man known for his confidence, strength, and unshakable control? But behind the headlines and social media updates was a deeper, more painful story. Surviving the accident was only the beginning of the battle. The real fight was in the weeks and months that followed. Simon was thrown into a grueling rehabilitation process. Every step he took came with pain. Tasks that had once been effortless became difficult challenges. He had to learn how to move again, how to trust his body again. The emotional toll was just as heavy. He felt vulnerable, uncertain, and shaken to his core. This wasn't just a physical injury. It was a symbolic moment, a sudden, shocking loss of control for a man who had built his career and identity on always being in charge. The confident walk, the firm tone, the strong presence, these were now replaced by slower movements and careful steps. People around him could see it. Something had changed, and Simon felt it too. Yet, through the hardship, something powerful began to emerge. The accident stripped away the image of Simon as just a sharp businessman or a bold TV personality. It revealed a man facing one of life's greatest challenges. Not with cameras rolling, but behind closed doors, in hospital rooms, and during lonely therapy sessions. And through that struggle came something even stronger, resilience. He didn't give up. Day by day, he pushed through the pain. Slowly, he regained strength. Bit by bit, he found his footing again, physically and emotionally. The accident that nearly took everything away became a turning point. It reminded him, and everyone watching, that even the strongest people can fall. But what truly defines them is how they rise. Simon's story became more than just a headline. It became a powerful reminder of human fragility and the incredible power of determination to fight through darkness and stand again. Although Simon Cowell seems to have recovered fully from the accident, he is struggling with another serious ailment. Let's find out how he has been battling a serious migraine. The silent enemy. When the accident happened, it was clear that Simon had entered a challenging chapter in his life. But while the physical injuries were visible and alarming, it was what came after that truly shook him. A quieter, invisible storm that changed his life in ways few could imagine. In 2024, Simon made a rare and brave confession in public. He had been battling intense, recurring migraines. These weren't just typical headaches that you could sleep off or fix with a painkiller. These were fierce, unpredictable neurological attacks. The kind that hijacked his senses, blurred his vision, made him dizzy, and left him completely powerless, sometimes right in front of a live audience. For someone like Simon, whose career had been built on quick thinking, sharp insight, and a steady presence on screen, these episodes were nothing short of heartbreaking. His mind had always been his greatest asset, and now it was under siege. The bright, piercing lights of the studio, lights that once set the stage for his confident presence, suddenly became his enemies. Even before the pain struck, he could feel the pressure building behind his eyes, like a silent warning. To cope, he began wearing distinctive red-tinted glasses. To viewers, they might have looked like a style statement, but in truth, they were a lifeline. These specially designed lenses filtered out the harsh, blue light that often triggered his migraines. While they didn't cure the condition, they gave him some relief, allowing him to function, at least for a little while. Those close to Simon began to notice the toll it was taking. There were moments, mid-conversation, when he would suddenly fall silent. His eyes would lose focus. His expression would go blank, and it became clear that the pain had returned with full force. At other times, he would quietly leave the set, forced to step away from the spotlight to manage a condition that doesn't always play by the rules. Behind the scenes, the struggle was even more intense. Medications helped dull the pain but came with heavy side effects, often leaving him drained and low on energy, a far cry from the vibrant personality the world knew. He tried various treatments and therapies, some offering hope, others leading to frustration. But perhaps the most difficult part of all was the uncertainty. The migraines could strike at any moment, without warning. That unpredictability created a cloud of fear that hung over his every performance. Still, Simon kept showing up. Even as the pain raged inside him, he maintained his presence, his charm, and his professionalism. But it came at a cost, one that only a few people truly understood. The glasses became more than just a tool. They became a quiet symbol of resilience, a sign that he was fighting a battle not everyone could see. Simon's story is a powerful reminder that some of the hardest struggles are the ones hidden behind the scenes. While the world saw a confident, composed man on camera, only a few knew what it took for him to be there. The migraines may not have left visible scars, but they left deep marks on his daily life, reshaping how he worked, how he coped, and how he lived. In the face of pain, uncertainty, and fear, Simon continued to rise. And that quiet courage speaks volumes. Let's take a look at the struggles he faces as he returns to the spotlight. The price of perseverance. Even as his body waged a fierce internal war, Simon refused to quietly disappear. Fame, lights, cameras, these had once been the rhythm of his life. They weren't just tools of his trade, they were pieces of his identity. So when life hit hard, Simon didn't surrender. In 2021, after a long pause, he made a long-awaited return to the very shows that had once made him a household name. The audience, loyal and eager, welcomed him back with warm applause and excitement. But something had changed. The Simon people remembered, confident, sharp-tongued, and full of fire, seemed slightly dimmed. His once bright eyes now carried a shadow. That familiar smirk, once ever present, appeared only in flashes. His sharp comebacks and witty remarks, the ones that used to land like lightning, were slower now, sometimes hesitant. It felt as if each sentence had to be pulled from a foggy corner of his mind. He stood on stage, but his movements were different too, stiffer, more careful. His eyes often drifted, his gaze distant. This wasn't just about aging, it was something deeper, something unseen but heavy, something painful. What fans didn't realize was that behind the polished appearance and camera-ready smile, Simon was carrying a weight most couldn't imagine. Every time he showed up on screen, he wasn't just entertaining, he was pushing through waves of pain. Behind the scenes, his daily life had turned into a full-time battle with chronic suffering. Each day was a delicate balance between endurance and exhaustion. To manage the pain, Simon depended on a variety of treatments and experimental therapies. Some of them sounded like something out of a science fiction novel. Nerve blocks to mute the agony, Botox to release the muscle tension in his face and neck, even sessions in hyperbaric oxygen chambers to give his body a reset. These were not guaranteed fixes. They were exhausting, expensive, and often draining. Then came hours of physical therapy, stretching and moving muscles that no longer responded the way they once did. Even his regular routines became strict and unforgiving. He had to drink water constantly to stay hydrated. He followed rigid sleeping schedules to avoid triggering migraines. He avoided certain foods, smells, and places, anything that could trigger a flare-up. It was like walking through a field of invisible landmines, where one wrong step could send him back into days of pain. And yet, he kept showing up. Every time Simon stepped onto a set or sat in front of a camera, it wasn't just about fulfilling a job. It was his personal declaration. I'm still here. I'm not done yet. Each smile, even if forced, every delayed line, even if slow, they all told a story of someone who wasn't ready to give up. He wasn't just hosting shows anymore. He was fighting to stay present, to hold on to the part of himself that once lit up that stage. Most people saw only the suit, the makeup, the lights. They didn't see the pain hidden beneath it all, the foggy mind, the aching body, the moments of doubt. But Simon kept going, not because he was as strong as before, but because he was stronger in a new way. This wasn't just a celebrity comeback. It was something deeper, more human. It was a quiet story of courage, of showing up when every part of you wants to lie down, of smiling when smiling hurts. Simon's return became more than a performance. It became proof of a soul that refuses to quit. Simon Cowell seemed to be in an active search for strength in the middle of vulnerability. Let's dive further into the details of his silent struggles as he pushes forward. The man behind the mask. Simon Cowell's life story is much richer and deeper than most people realize. To the outside world, he is famously known as the tough, no-nonsense judge on popular TV shows. The man who delivers sharp, sometimes harsh critiques with a confidence that seems unshakable. For many years, Simon built a public image of being strong and unstoppable, someone who never backs down and always speaks his mind. But behind that confident exterior lies a much more complex and human story. Life has not always been easy for Simon. Away from the bright lights, the cameras, and the applause, he has faced serious challenges that few people know about. Illness and injury forced him to confront something many people find difficult to understand, that even those who seem the strongest can feel fragile and vulnerable. Real strength, as Simon's experience shows, is not about always being tough or perfect. True courage is often about being brave enough to admit when you are struggling, to face your weaknesses head-on, and to keep going despite them. Those closest to Simon, his partner, Lauren Silverman, their young son Eric, and a small circle of trusted friends, have seen this softer side of him that the public rarely gets to witness. Away from the stage and the bright lights, Simon opens up in ways that reveal a man who feels deeply and sometimes wrestles quietly with his fears and doubts. When the weight of emotional pain grows too heavy, he turns to the love and support of those nearest to him. This Private Simon is very different from the hard, fearless figure seen on television. He is someone who shows real vulnerability and strength in equal measure. One of the most interesting symbols of Simon's hidden battles is his choice to wear red-tinted glasses. At first, many people thought these glasses were simply a fashion statement, something to make him stand out among the crowd of celebrities. But as time has passed, those glasses have come to mean much more than just style. they have become a visible reminder of the personal struggles he faces every day. Behind the success, fame, and power, there is a quiet story of pain, determination, and courage that the public rarely sees. Those red-tinted lenses act like a shield, protecting Simon as he continues to move forward, despite the difficulties he carries. Simon Cowell's story is far from over. His battle is ongoing, a powerful example of resilience in the face of challenges that test not only his physical health, but also his emotional and mental strength. His journey teaches us an important lesson. Real strength is not about being perfect or never showing weakness. Instead, it is about recognizing our struggles, accepting them, and using them as a source of growth and courage. In many ways, Simon's life encourages us all to rethink what it means to be strong. It reminds us that even the most confident, powerful people have battles within themselves that require a deep kind of bravery. Simon's ability to keep pushing forward, to keep fighting even when things get hard, shows us that true courage comes from facing life's difficulties honestly and with an open heart. The story of Simon Cowell invites us to look beyond the surface of fame and celebrity. It asks us to remember that behind every public figure is a human being with fears, pains, hopes, and dreams. Simon's journey inspires us to be kinder to ourselves and to others by understanding that sometimes the strongest thing we can do is to be vulnerable, to ask for help, and to keep moving forward no matter how tough the road may be. Let's take a quick dive into the journey Simon Cowell made while making a name for himself in music and on TV. Simon Cowell's journey through music and television. Simon Cowell, born on October 7, 1959, is a name that has become almost synonymous with talent shows and sharp-tongued judgment. A British television personality, businessman, and record executive. Cowell is known around the world for his role in discovering and promoting new musical talent. With his unmistakable voice, straight-faced critiques, and no-nonsense attitude, Cowell has built an entertainment empire that stretches across continents. Cowell first made waves in the British music scene during the 1980s and 1990s, working behind the scenes as a record producer, talent scout, and music consultant. But it wasn't until 2001 that he truly stepped into the spotlight. That year, he became a household name as one of the judges on Pop Idol, a British television talent competition. The show, pitched to ITV by Cowell and Simon Fuller, became a hit and changed the landscape of reality TV. Riding on its success, Cowell went on to create two global television sensations, The X Factor in 2004 and Got Talent in 2006. Both franchises took off internationally, with versions airing in dozens of countries. In addition to judging Pop Idol, Cowell was a familiar face on several other major TV shows. He served as a judge on The X Factor UK from 2004 to 2010, returning again from 2014 to 2018. And he has been a core judge on Britain's Got Talent since it began in 2007. Across the Atlantic, he joined American Idol from 2002 to 2010, and later appeared on The X Factor US 2011 to 2013, and America's Got Talent since 2016. His often blunt, brutally honest feedback, sometimes humorous, other times harsh, became his trademark and kept viewers glued to their screens. Beyond TV, Cowell has been a major force in the music industry. In 2002, he launched S Records, which later became Psycho Music, and in 2005, he founded Psycho Entertainment. Through these ventures, he signed and promoted chart-topping artists such as Leona Lewis, Susan Boyle, Little Mix, James Arthur, and One Direction, helping to shape modern pop music. He also introduced the world to talented groups like Westlife, Fifth Harmony, CNCO, and Pretty Much. Cowell's influence hasn't gone unnoticed. In 2004, and again in 2010, Time magazine listed him among the 100 most influential people in the world. British audiences also recognized his star power, ranking him 28th in ITV's 50 Greatest Stars in 2006. The Daily Telegraph went even further in 2008, placing him 6th among the 100 most powerful people in British culture. His contributions to entertainment have earned him numerous honors. He received the Special Recognition Award at the National Television Awards in 2008 and 2010. The British Academy of Film and Television Arts, BAFTA, gave him a special award for his role in transforming the industry and discovering new talent. In 2018, he was immortalized with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. From music mogul to TV legend, Simon Cowell's career has been a whirlwind of innovation, risk-taking, and undeniable success. Whether he's making stars or making headlines, Cowell continues to shape the future of entertainment, one talent show at a time. So, what do you think about Simon Cowell's struggles behind the red glasses? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.